Welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how I did an ink and marker African violet drawing in my sketchbook. I'd actually had plans this weekend to go down to the beach and do some sketching there because I do like working with things that come up on the beach, the shells and the pebbles and so on, but it was raining so much I decided to stay home. And one of the plants I have in my apartment is a little African violet. I've had it since Christmas and it's actually just started blooming again this weekend, so I thought, well, maybe this would be a great thing to draw. So here I'm using my Liquid sketchbook. I draw a pencil border around the drawings. I do like to put a border on all of my bits in my sketchbook. I kind of like to keep my sketchbook kind of tidy. This is not what I would call my messy sketchbook. So anyway, we've got a bit of a border there. It's just the width of a ruler, and then I just sketched out lightly in pencil the main shapes of the petals and the leaves. I didn't put all the leaves. I felt there was just so much. There was so much greenery there, and I wanted to really focus in on the petals. I then went over with my pencil lines with a 0.3mm. It's a Faber-Castell black pen, but honestly you can use any pen you have. And what I did notice was that on the leaves, even though the leaves are quite furry, they have these kind of pillow veins that make the leaves kind of like pillow out. So I did put some of those veins in with the pen and on the actual drawing. Next I decided I'm going to do some ink, and I got this idea from Alex from the Daily Nature Journal. I'll put a link to his channel below. He's using botanical inks, which I'd never even heard of until today. However, so I knew that I had some purple ink in my stash, and I think that's what brought me to do the African violet, because it's basically purple and violet are very, very similar. And I decided to use this ink for the first time. Normally I would have used this ink in my fountain pen, which one doesn't use much as either. However, I decided that I would actually use the purple ink and try it out. So what I did was on my palette, I dropped a little bit of water there, and then I dipped the brush into the ink and drained a little bit off on the side, and then thinned it down a little bit on the palette. So it was more of a wash rather than straight up ink. So I painted the first coat of the ink wash on the petals, let it dry quickly, and then I did a little second coat, adding some more texture, and then finally I came with the third coat, which was just slightly darker purples, and I got that ink then straight out of the ink pot up that wasn't thin, just to give those specific shades and definition to some of the details on the petals. So for the leaves I was using my markers. These are the Faber-Castell Artist brush pens. The first color I used was called Warm Grey 1, and with that I just did some outside bits on the leaves. Then I moved into the middle color, and that was with May Green 107, and that was a brighter color, and I did some further work there to bring definition to the shape of the leaves. And then finally the darker green I used is called Earth Green 172, and that's where I put higher level details in the darker greens on there. The fourth color I added to the leaves was Warm Grey 1, and that I just blended the cream from the very edge onto the mid-green to soften the leaves and make them look really much more realistic. Finally, I added a very light ivory just as the background to the leaves. I left the border empty. I just felt it was interesting the way the leaves are just kind of popping out of the border. I was originally going to use the bright cadmium yellow that I'd used on the actual little bits in the middle of the plant, which I never know what the names are, the stamens or something, but I felt that would be too strong. So I went with the ivory. I felt it was more neutral, and it was able to support the colors of the purples and the greens. So this is the final drawing I have now in my sketchbook. It took me probably 3 hours to do, and if I'd have thought about it at the time instead of just taking photographs, I would have actually videoed the process. This makes so much more sense, but I am still very new. I'm working with art on this channel, so bear with me, things will improve. I did enjoy working with ink, and I actually do have some other inks as well. I have metallic inks of silver, copper and gold, but I've never really used them actually in a painting. They're what I use for highlighting and adding a little bit of bling to many of my artworks. But I do feel that I need to go out and get some more inks in it. Clearly probably a red and an orange and a yellow and maybe a green ink, so that I can start working more with these ink washes. I do like the medium. I find the ink dissolves very quickly. It's very different to watercolor, and it's something that I can further explore. Let me know if you've been working with inks at all and what ideas you have for working with ink. I'm Alison Hazel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.